Hey, what's up everybody? Characters here for another fantastic video. And today we are reading a South Park Cringypasta. It is called South Park Creepypasta Eric Cartman Must Die by Xander Martin 98. Okay, here we go. One day in South Park, Colorado, the sky was gray, dismal, and covered with menacingly black storm clouds. Cartman, Kyle, Stan, and Kenny, all 16 years of age, went about their normal school business. All of their parents left them home alone temporarily for some kind of strange and mysterious meeting. Not going to elaborate on that already. Alrighty.
Oh, jeez, I almost dropped that.
The kids were sent home early before the weather could become any worse. Cartman walked home alone. Along the way home, Cartman began to hear the wind whispering to him. He felt horrific memories being resurrected. Memories of how he had murdered Scott Tinnerman's parents, ground them up into a chili-like substance, and attempted to feed them to him. I remember that episode. It was pretty funny. He knew he had scarred Scott for life, but to Cartman it didn't matter that he had murdered someone else's parents.
That was probably scared. How is it spelled?
S-C-A-R-R-E-D.
That was hard.
Wow, I am retarded. One of them being his own father, as long as one of them had ginger-colored hair. Scott's hair was ginger-colored as well. Cartman hated these so-called gingers. In fact, Cartman brutally punished anyone who failed to agree with him. Cartman looked behind him and screamed when he saw Scott's face. No, he doesn't. What? Scott appeared to have fallen deep into the realm of insanity. His eyes were bloodshot, giving the impression that he had been restless for a long time. He looked incredibly angry, but at the same time he had a cold, sadistic smirk on his face, his teeth clenched bitterly. Scott sneered at Cartman's heartless insolence and began to speak. So, I already know it's going to be one of those edgy stories, dude. Oh my god. The title gives it away. Recently, man, my fucking breathing. These stories are killing me. Every time I start one of these bad stories, I just feel the frustration. Deep breaths, Dalton. Deep breaths. My name is D.U. Cartman, do you know what you have done to me? Scott questioned. Does it look like I give a fuck? Cartman retorted. Why, you little son of a bitch. Scott grabbed Cartman by the collar and held him at eye level, nearly strangling him to death. Oh wow, edgy. You dare talk back to me, an adult, after the shit you have done to me? You heartless bastard. Okay, I'm sorry. Cartman hurriedly apologized. For what? Scott yelled fiercely, tightening his grip on Cartman's throat. For killing your parents, Cartman screamed desperately. And Scott yelled, reaching to pull out his knife and stab Cartman to death. And for grinding them up into chili. Please, for the love of God, let me go. Cartman screamed like a torture victim. Are you really, truly sorry? Scott demanded, not loosening his grip even slightly, his knuckles turning white. Do you realize what you have done to me, you sick bastard? Remember how I looked before you killed him? Well, look at me now. I'm a fucking psychopath, all thanks to you. Are you happy now, asshole? Oh my god, they're trying to make him so edgy, and it's just fucking cringy as fuck. No. That didn't help me at all. That didn't help at all. Please let me go. You're scaring me. Cartman screamed and whined like a beaten dog. I hope I scared you, you piece of shit. Scott replied. Remember what I said all those years ago? Yes, revenge is a dish best served chili. Let me go, Cartman screamed anxiously. Scott loosened his grip on Cartman's throat. Cartman ran home as fast as possible, shut all the windows, and locked all the doors. Yes, go home and cry to Mama, you pussy. Scott sneered. Just be aware that you might not see her tomorrow. Oh, foreshadowing. Oh, it's gonna get spooky up in here.
What are you talking about, huh?
Oh my god, End my suffering now before it's too late. That night, Cartman locked himself in his bedroom and could not sleep at all. The bed began to feel like a cold, hard slab of concrete. What if he comes to get me? He whispered nervously to himself, alone in the dark room as the clock ticked away. Cartman grew more demented and restless with each passing second as his paranoia began to seize control over his mind. Sleep. Need sleep. Cartman whispered, anxiously walking around the room, unable to clear the horrifying thoughts from his mind.
It was perfect timing.
Cartman tried to sleep,
Don't die
but
now.
he slept restlessly, tossing and turning in his nightmare. He was tied to a chair and being interrogated by Scott. Now do you understand how I feel every night when I try to go to sleep? Scott asked. Do you understand the agonizing, dreadful suffering I've lived through for almost 10 years thanks to your sorry ass? You fat, greedy, ignorant, racist, worthless ass. Do you understand? Do you? Answer me, Scott demanded angrily. Oh my god, that's so... They're trying to make him like such a fucking edgelord hero. And it just comes across as another fucking little pussy faggot. Yes, I do. Leave me alone, Cartman screamed. You see this bitch here? Scott asked. This is the cheap, worthless whore you call your mother. Maybe if she had actually taught you something good rather than following your commands like a fucking slave, I wouldn't be holding her hostage right now, would I? Please let me go, Cartman's mother screamed. She was tied to another chair. Not so fast, you fucking slut, Scott spat. I'm not letting you go until you answer this question. Did you ever wonder how Cartman would end up turning out if you continued to spoil him the way you still do? Did it ever cross your mind that maybe he would end up becoming a two-faced, gutless coward? Oh my god. Oh my god. Is this about over yet? Jesus fuck. Yeah, we're about over with this pile of dog shit for real. Hey, don't talk about me like that, you motherfucking dickhead, Cartman yelled. Quiet down, you bastard. Scott yelled back. You see this knife? I'm going to use it to kill one of you pieces of shit. Your choice, Cartman. Take your pick. You want me to kill your mother and let yourself assassinate live? Or would you rather die right now and straight to hell like you deserve? Mom, kill Mom, please. I don't want to die, Cartman screamed. Cartman, no. Why would you do this to me? Why? Can you tell how enthusiastic I am about this masterpiece? Can you? Cartman's mother screamed in agony as Scott used the knife to stab her through the throat and murder her. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wow. Amazing. Are you really that heartless? Scott asked. Turning toward Cartman and slowly approaching him with the knife gleaming in his hands, laughing sadistically. We ignore the fact that I just murdered your fucking mother simply because your own pathetic, ungrateful ass is still alive. Yes, I mean no, Cartman screamed as Scott thrust the knife forward, stopping inches away from Cartman's face. Cartman immediately woke up, screaming in a chair in his basement. His face was inches away from Scott's knife, and his mother's bloody corpse was sitting in a chair across from him. Now, Scott began. Do you want to continue living? How will you pay the price? I want to continue living, please. I don't want to die. Wah, Cartman cried. Oh my god, I'm trying to skip through this piece of shit, dude. I don't feel any sympathy for you, Eric, Scott whispered harshly. Do you remember what you did when I was crying all those years ago? You drank my tears. You fed off of my sorrow. I was a dick back then, but I do not deserve the scar you have left on me. But you deserve the scars I am about to leave on you, you motherfucker, Scott yelled as he viciously and brutally attacked Cartman with the knife. As Cartman screamed in agony, Scott laughed with the hateful and sadistic pleasure of a true madman. He had waited all these years to do this, and now the wait was over. Scott was arrested and spent the rest of his life in a maximum security asylum. Not once did he fully regret what he had done. I got you, Scott jokingly whispered under his breath as he awaited the execution on the last day of his life. Okay, so that one was only like 9 minutes, and I still got to rip in a new one here and there. Okay, so what did I think of the first one? Tried to be an edgelord. The characters weren't really in character, and it was over the top even by South Park standards. It was just cringy, unbelievable.
Over the top by South Park standards.
That's funny. Ha 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 ha.
Fuck you! Wow.
Fuck you! But anyways, like this story drained me mentally and physically so bad that I don't think I have energy for another one, but maybe I do. This is a steaming pile of shit, but it wasn't nearly as bad as the Naruto one with Hidan fucking that kid drawing the A symbol, the Joshinist. Not nearly as bad as that. Okay, let me look on my phone of Rooney and bring up another one. So how have you all been doing? I hope you're all having a good day. Okay, this is called The Secret Behind South Park by Creepypasta X, the letter X, and then P-E-R-T, part. Expert.
Are you reading another one?
Yup.
What?
The
Why are you torturing
The
yourself?
secret behind South Park, because I'm a masochist. Most people on Earth don't know about the famous show
Well,
South
if you're
Park.
a masochist, then I'll show you a good time.
Oh, baby. I'm doing the B symbol to her. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. The intro pauses the show within 5 or 6 seconds of the show. You would see the grave of Kenny McCormick. Also notice how the people never get older, such as the children. In most of the episodes, Kenny would die. It's a running gag that Kenny gets reborn, and just like in Family Guy, like Stewie doesn't get fucking older. It's just sort of how it is for most fucking cartoons that are animated sitcoms and whatnot.
Hey, wave at me if you need me for any of this bullshit.
Okay, baby. Okay, let me find it again. Stan Kyle would say, "Oh my God, you killed Kenny, you bastard!" He put the letter U because he's too lazy to spell it out. And then, in parentheses, or bastards. Yeah, I kind of figured, buddy, but thank you. The people in the show are all ghosts. How do you figure? What is your proof? Now here's my theory, and a bad one at that, by the way. All the people that moved into the town died a couple of months to years of living in the town. I say that because the adults and children of the town, either committed suicide or was killed by another entity. By the way, I said this before, but if you don't even want to proofread your own story, what makes you think other people want to fuck with it? For example, Eric Cartman died from a wild cannon bull that stabbed him several times and ate his insides. Oh my god. Oh my god, gore does not equal horror, buddy. In the afterlife, Eric Cartman insults people to take out all of his anger. Ike hung himself by a ceiling fan from seeing all the ghosts and tragedy tied to the town. What? Kyle killed himself right after his brother Ike. Tease ya! U.S. military put a block on the town so there is no more deaths. There's probably more people and deaths in the town today. Oh fuck, that was bad. The grammar just in that short span, dude. Jesus Christ, what are people thinking? Why are they so dumb? Why do people do this? Alright, let's go ahead and find another one. Let's see, can we read this one in time? Yeah, we can. One more and then we're going to call it a wrap. South Park Lost Episode. I was shirking my responsibilities and staying up late in an early Friday morning around 4 a.m. while procrastinating my college work. Bump all of that. All of my friends went to bed and I wasn't in a mood to play any games, so I turned on my TV to see any channels are on. When I was channel surfing to Adult Swim, it was on. I don't know, what the fuck ever. It doesn't matter, it's probably right. I don't care. I don't care to correct anymore at this point. I'm so drained already. For reruns, my eyes immediately caught on Comedy Central playing the South Park opening sequence. Normally, Comedy Central usually plays an infomercial at that time, but I was too delighted to notice or even care. It was an early opening with the banjo player, but during the part where Kenny mumbles his lines, I just realized the quality of the video graphics was poor and unstable, even for South Park standards. Oh, here's another cliche. It was as if somebody recorded it via... Someone recorded via VHS. Why would this go through on Comedy Central? Don't they fucking usually quality check this shit? But little did I know that weirder things were about to happen. Usually the episode starts...
Basically what I want.
Usually the episode starts right after the theme song, where Ike or Mr. Hanky flies into the South Park sign. But this time Static, another cliche, suddenly erupted and stayed there a bit longer than usual, until the actual episode showed up. The actual episode started without any music at all, another cliche, and simply showed Kenny walking the streets of South Park. But wasn't the classic hopping or skidding walk that the show is famous for, but an actual walking animation. There was no sound either, and no sign of the other boys or any background characters for that matter, as Kenny silently walked in the loop like out of the Flintstones cartoon. In the loop, classic locations are shown, like Tom's Rhinoplasty and Stark's Pond, and despite the geographical errors, they're pretty fucking good. Like showing the school at one part.
I won't say what I actually want to listen to. I'm just going to say I want to listen to Beartooth.
Okay, listen to whatever you want. Who gives a fuck?
I want to listen to some cringy shit is what I actually want to listen to, man.
Ooh, wee. Fake news, guys. Represent the news. Then the movie theater after that. I shrugged it off, believing it to be the type of indirect joke Trey and Matt are notorious for, so I decided to continue watching it. By the way, another cliche, just shrugging it off. Like, fuck, man, come on, do better than that. I love how these fucking people can write off so many things. But then after the 5-minute mark, the looping buildings started to mix away at random, and the new buildings began to appear as if on cue, showing locations such as Raisins and Casa Bonita. At least you know your stuff for the most part, though neither of those would appear until later seasons. I didn't know that at the time, of course, but in hindsight it's pretty weird. A door opening was suddenly heard in the background, followed by the sounds of various people shouting and other sorts of commotion. The audio was too muffled and distorted, cliche, so I wasn't able to fully hear what they were saying, but it sounded too realistic to be an act. Oh my god, cliche city. It sounded like a group of people yelling at a crying woman to stop. They people were begging not to do it. Oh my god, Grandma is too. Not to do it, as a crying woman warns them to back off or she'll take them with her. The screaming and begging grew louder along the way, and during the tussle, the animation itself revealed the background changing to more realistic details. Can I get a cliche counter, please? Fuck. The looping buildings began to deteriorate over time, and it appeared to synchronize with the screaming. Yep. Okay, yeah, it did. Comedy Central allowed this, for sure. First, it showed signs of neglect, like boarded doors and broken windows. And the next loop shows the structures discoloring away due to age. It continues to loop in worse conditions than the last as the screaming grew louder and violent all the way up until the point where all the famous landmarks were barely recognizable and falling apart. But Kenny for some reason didn't experience change at all. And not only that, he continued to walk as if nothing was happening. Both the audio and the animation lasted for another 5 minutes, during which the voices were getting clearer up until the end. Some of the voices I was able to identify and recognize. Trey and Matt, along with Isaac Hayes, telling the crying woman to think about her husband. Trey Parker and Matt Stone sounded genuinely afraid in their midst. It didn't sound anything like a joke at all. It sounded too genuine for a prank by them. I then heard Isaac telling her, "Please don't do it," before silence for a while. At this point, the animation froze, as if it was waiting for the woman's answer. Finally, the woman just barely muttered in a whisper, "I'm sorry," before a loud gunshot was heard following a thud. Screams of help erupted, panic yells for help, and crying was heard before the animation cut to black. Several minutes of silence had passed until the animation returned to Kenny walking again in the loop, and the background returned to normal as if nothing had happened. Only this time, after a minute or two, Kenny stopped and turned around into the viewer's direction and walked towards me as the camera drew nearer and nearer, until Kenny was close enough that his hooded face covered the screen. His staring eyes gave me the shivers as Kenny continued to... Wow, a fucking paper cutout gave me the shivers. As Kenny continued to simply look at the camera's view, as if he was watching me from my own TV. Yeah, I'm sure he was. Never blinking at all, as if he was under a trance. He continued to do so for 4 minutes before the screen cut to black as the credits quietly played. Dude, I would just fucking fast forwarded, I'm not waiting that long. After images of Kenny's eyes landed on the credits until it finally faded away during the branded airplane logo. The screen faded to black until an infomercial started playing as if nothing had happened. I don't know if the events that occurred to me that night was some kind of a sick joke Trey and Matt played by people like me. No, it wasn't, obviously. Or something far more ominous. Even as I typed, I still feel those eyes staring at me with the same haunting chill and fart. The death that was heard on audio was ruled a suicide. Yeah, okay, well you're fucking retarded. Alright. 3 for the price of 1 piles of poopy. Let's go ahead and end it here. I've got terminal stage 4 cancer. And every time I read these cringy pastas, I get a little worse mentally and physically.